Hey guys, welcome to an exclusive early review of the Wicked Cool Toys WWE 31-inch Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, and John Cena figures. I was fortunate enough and want to say a big thank you to Wicked Cool Toys for sending these to me early. They are not in stores yet. I believe they'll be out in September 2016 or in coming months, as if I already had them in my hands, chances are they will be out very soon, much like the NXT ring came out, at least online, shortly after my review. And yeah, just looking at these firsthand before opening them or anything, I would say that my favorite one is Seth Rollins, as I think his looks fantastic. I think they did a really nice job. Cena looks great as well. He has all his detail on his armbands and his hat and everything. And the Lesnar, I am a fan of Lesnar, especially in his flashback attire, but there are a few minor issues with him. As you can see, he has his chest tattoo, which he did not have when he was in that attire in WWE, and he is also missing his wristbands, but you could use some gaff tape or paint it, of course, as that's a pretty easy fix. I think they were going to make Lesnar in his shorts, if I'm not mistaken, when they showed it at Toy Fair, I believe, a year or so ago. But I'm assuming they didn't have the molds for it to do his gloved hands or his shorts and whatnot. So, other than that, they look pretty cool. And yeah, let's take a look at Brock Lesnar first. Alright, so here we have the 31-inch Brock Lesnar flashback figure. Up close, still in the packaging. It has 9 points of articulation, so his arms can go up and down, his wrists can turn, his neck can turn, and his legs could partially go up and down. So they're pretty good for playability. I know collectors like myself would love just to have these guys displayed somewhere, but I'm sure kids love them as they're about the size of a small child. And they could wrestle with them and whatnot. So they're pretty cool. It's just like the other ones that were at Kmart. I imagine these will be at Kmart and Toys R Us, as I've never seen them elsewhere. But yeah, let's take a look at Lesnar more up close. So here we have Lesnar's head scan, and it looks pretty good, honestly. It doesn't look like his teeth are painted, as I just noticed that. But he has his short hair. His face is angry, so you can see they don't have like the short shaved hair on the side, but I don't even remember when he was younger if he was clean shaven like this. But his head can turn all the way around, as you can see. He even has the wrinkles in his neck, which is pretty cool. He has his chest tattoo, which I'll show you more in a second. But you can see he has his shoulder tattoo, which looks great. And he has that shoulder tattoo as well. And then, oh, well, there's another error. That's a big one, actually. I actually haven't looked at this figure that closely until now. They forgot his back tattoo, which is a big part of Lesnar, so that's kind of disappointing. If you are good at customizing, it'd be really cool to put that on there. As you can see, here he is here. Actually, you can't see that, sorry. But here's the back of the box. You can see what Lesnar looked like then. There's the company information at the bottom. But yeah, just looking at him up close like that, you could see that he is missing a lot of detail. He is twist tied, or zip tied, excuse me, into the packaging, so you can't fidget with him at the store. But I'll show you him now out of the packaging, so you could see. But looking at the rest of him up close, there's his black tights, his knee pads, and his short black boots. So I assume they could use his body to make a Stone Cold Steve Austin eventually, as well, as they could just really put a head on it. And maybe some smaller arms, I don't know. All the guys' arms look the same size, actually. So Anyway, let's take a look at him out of the box. Alright guys, so here we have Lesnar out of the packaging, so you can see him a little bit easier now. And that's what he looks like from the front. As I said, he has his shorter boots, which is nice. He does have knee pads, he just doesn't have his wristbands. And he has a chest tattoo, which he didn't have. And he is missing his back tattoo, which is, to me, a big part of Lesnar, as he has that iconic back tattoo that we all know him for. So I'm kind of surprised that Wicked Cool Toys left that off. I know some people have been complaining a lot about these, that they're missing a lot of detail. And I do agree that, yes, they are missing detail, but I believe, and I think Wicked Cool Toys addressed this on Twitter recently, that it is due to budget, that they have to make cuts somewhere. So I wish they could have cut his chest tattoo and did his back tattoo instead, as that would have made this much better and just would have had his wristbands missing, but he is missing a bit. So yeah, so let's take a look at his articulation. Alright, so besides his head articulation, he could lift his arms up and down like this, and then he could turn his fists like this. So there's that full range of motion. His waist does not turn, as you can see, but his legs go up just a little bit, so they go back more, like that. And this goes for all of them, honestly. That's however the underwear is molded on them, or tights I should say, excuse me. So they're restricted a bit. These are more so for display, in my opinion, as I have like the Hulk Hogan one displayed in my room, as I'm a big fan of Hulkster. But they're still really cool. But here you could see that his back tattoo, even the design on the back of his tights is not there. So, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people will complain about this one. I'm assuming he was kind of a last minute change, as like I said at Toy Fair, I think they showed him in his shorts. And I'm assuming they just didn't have the budget to make a short mold or his gloves, which is unfortunate because that one would be really cool in my opinion. So maybe they'll make another version of him at some point, but who knows. But yeah, that's Lesnar. I'll show you his boots really quick so you can see that as well. You can see the laces and stuff, and it's a detail in his knee pads. The other annoying thing is the screws, but I think that's on all these vinyl type figures at the store. I don't like when you could see those in figures, but hey, it's still really cool, minus his flaws. Like I said, if you want to customize it, you could maybe erase this with some ace tone or something. And I'm probably gonna put some gaff tape on his wrists so I can give him some wristbands and make him look a little more complete. But I guess this would almost be what he would look like now if he wore this attire, just minus his tattoos and stuff. So yeah, let's take a look at John Cena next. Alright, so here we have the newest 31-inch John Cena. I know Wicked Cool Toys has made him in pretty much every attire since they started these. So this is his most recent one, especially like his current action figures. It's the same outfit that's currently out in stores, even though it's obviously not what he's wearing on TV right now. But you could see there is a lot of detail in this one, and I imagine Wicked Cool Toys always goes above and beyond, probably per WWE's wishes as well, to make Cena's the most detailed and whatnot, especially if they keep making more and more versions of him. And yeah, this one also only has 9 points of articulation, so let's take a look at him up close. So here we have Cena still in the packaging. As you can see, just looking at his upper body, you can see his head scan, which looks pretty good. And he has his hat that says "You Can't See Me," and we could actually feel the stitching in his hat, as you can see here. I'll show you more up close shortly, but this is one of his joints where his neck can turn all the way around. You could even see the little strap on his hat and his hair. his hair even fades, which is pretty cool. And the detail even in his ear. It's pretty wild how much detail they put into Cena, honestly. But it looks pretty good. And he does have the typical arm joints, which I'll show you in a second. But just looking at the rest of him in the box. Sorry, it's always awkward reviewing these big figures as they're just so tall and the camera can't even fit them all on screen unless I'm really far away, which isn't fun. But you can see the company information, other detail about him there. But the back of the box is really nice, honestly. I like the crowd in the background. Just the overall color scheme, which goes well with Mattel's products, which is always nice that they do that. So now let's take a look at Cena out of the packaging. Alright guys, so here we have Cena fresh out of the packaging. Overall, they did a really nice job on him, honestly. As I said, I'm not surprised that they go all out on his figures. You can just see all the detail in his shorts, his wristbands, his hat with the little seams in his hat, which I'll show you shortly. It is really cool. His gym shoes even have detail on them, besides the laces and stuff, so it's really cool. I'm not a big Cena fan, but I do like him more as the years have gone on. I do respect everything he does outside of the ring, and just a lot of his matches lately in the past year or two have just been great. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to have this. It's not my favorite attire of his, but it is still really cool. So let's take a look at him up close. Alright, so here we have Cena's head again. I showed you the detail, but I just want to show you the detail in his hat. If the camera will pick that up, let's see if it will. There we go. So you could see all the detail in his hat, which is really cool. Just even on the brim of the hat and stuff. But all the little seams and whatnot. It's just really neat. It even has a little part on the top there, and then like I was showing you, it has a strap and everything, so there's a ton of detail in these, at least in Cena. Like I said, they really go all out with him, so it's really cool. So zooming out a bit, I could show you his articulation. So he does have the up and down arms like the Lesnar and Rollins do, and he has the fist joints, or the wrist joints where he can twist his fist. My god, I'm sorry. But they made him pretty ripped. And you can see his armband, which is molded. It doesn't have his never give up or anything on it. But you can see the detail there. The Hustle, Loyalty, Respect logos, and the You Can't See Me logo, so you can see the detail in his belt buckle and his belt and everything. Even the pockets on his shorts, the wrinkles, he has molded knee pads there. He does have a joint here, which is cool. I didn't know that until just now. So you can twist his knees. He does have leg joints that go up and down. He has a little bit more movement than Lesnar does, just because of how his legs are molded, so you could pose him pretty well. You can see, so his leg goes back a nice bit, or you could have him kick like that, so he's pretty good for play for kids, honestly. And then you can see his shoes with all the detail there. The trim and everything, the laces, it's just really cool. So, they went all out with Cena. Are you surprised? I'm not, but it is really cool. So if you haven't picked up any of the Cena ones, this one is pretty cool. I mean, they're all the same, they're just repainted based on his attire. So, that being said, let's take a look at Rollins now. Alright guys, so I saved the best one for last, even though that Cena was really good in my opinion. But I know this one is probably going to be the most popular. It is really cool. It is kind of current to an extent. He is still wearing his gloves, so it's not going to be like his attire at the moment where he doesn't wear his gloves anymore. I know some people were complaining that he didn't have the designs on his tights, but he still has the logo on his tights, which is nice. One thing I do notice, just looking at it from this perspective, which I didn't notice, is that it looks like they just painted the legs black versus it being like a all tight mold, so you could still see his underwear, I guess, like the Lesnar has. So that's kind of annoying, but I get it for their budget. I really don't know how their budget works for these, so they must have restrictions somewhere where it's cheaper just to use the same molds and just paint over them, much like I think the Hulk Hogan 31-inch had the Rock's boots. Even though he doesn't wear boots like that, they just painted them all yellow, even though it has that opening in the back. So that's kind of like this. One thing I did notice about Rollins is that his head looks bigger than Lesnar and Cena, so his scale seems to be a little bit different for some reason. But he's still really cool. I mean, from afar it looks really nice. They didn't put the blonde in his hair, which I assume was a budget thing, but also it works now because he doesn't have the blonde bleached into his hair any longer. So yeah, let's take a look at him up close in the packaging. Alright, so here we have the 31-inch Rollins up close. It looks really good in my opinion. His head looks just like him, I think. And it's awesome that he does not have the blonde in his hair. I don't know if that was an accident, a happy accident sort of thing, but it's nice. You can see the detail in his beard, even the strand of hair over his face. And he does have the neck articulation there, and you can see the detail in his hair. So it kind of has that wet Rollins hair look, so that's pretty cool. Then he does have the typical arm joints there. And just looking down, you can see what I was talking about, where it looks like they just painted the legs black versus actually having an all tights mold. But you can see his knee pads, his kick pads, and everything. There's the bottom of the box. And then looking at the back of the box quickly, you can see the Seth Rollins logo, a picture of him there, and just more details and company information at the bottom. And you could also see he doesn't have his tattoo down his spine, which I just noticed as well, so that's another missing tattoo. But yeah, let's take a look at him out of the box. Alright guys, so here we have the 31-inch Seth Rollins figure fresh out of the box. I would say it is a really cool figure. The wrinkles of where his tights meet his legs, where they clearly painted, kind of almost just look like wrinkles in his tights. So in a way it kind of sells it, but I'm pretty sure that's all they did was just paint the legs, unfortunately. But I still think this figure is really nice. I know some people said he's missing designs on his tights and things, but as you can see there's a lot of budget cuts on these, as his back tattoo down his spine is missing and everything. So other than that, it's a really cool figure. It's great for any Seth Rollins fan if you just want to display him in the box in your room or figure room, what have you. It's really nice. So let's take a look at him up close. Alright, so I showed you guys his head. As I said before, it looks really nice. He has a neck articulation here. He does have the arm articulation that goes up and down just like the other two, and the wrist joints as well. Looking at his back, you can see where his tattoo is missing, so if you want to customize him, go for it. If you can pull that off, that'd be really cool. Just looking at the back of his tights, you can see the wrinkles and things, and here's where you could tell the legs were just painted. So, but in a way it kind of looks like wrinkles in his tights, just in his groin area, I guess. So still see the wrinkles in his knee pads. See the detail in his kick pads. It looks like well, no, he doesn't have an ankle joint, but his legs do turn here at the knee pad, which is interesting. I'm not sure if Brock Lesnar's turns there, but it looks like he might have an ankle joint. I don't know if the camera can pick that up. Yeah, the seam here, but it doesn't seem to turn, so maybe that's just where the foot connects to the leg, so don't force that. But you can still see the detail in his boots. And yeah, that's that. So I showed you his arm articulation. Here's his leg joint, so you can't really move his leg forward too much, but you can move it backward a bit. But that's about as far as it goes forward. So, and I'll just show you how Rollins looks a bit bigger to me than the others. Just looking at the size of their heads and things. Yeah, even the height difference you could see. So, that's kind of interesting. But, I don't know why that is. So if you're just really anal about your figures, I don't recommend picking these up, as you'll just get angry with them, but I think they're really cool for display. Great for kids who don't know that they're lacking all this detail. So there you have the 31-inch John Cena, Seth Rollins, and Brock Lesnar figures from Wicked Cool Toys. They should be in stores very soon. I imagine they will definitely be out by holiday 2016. I'm not sure if you could pre-order them on ringsidecollectibles.com yet, if they're even carrying these guys. I'm not sure. I'm sure they will. But they're really cool, great for display, great for kids. I know they're lacking a lot of details, but you'll just have to be grateful. We have 31-inch versions of these guys, and if those details really bother you, you could always customize them. But they're still cool for what they are. Thanks again to Wicked Cool Toys for hooking me up with these early. And yeah, thanks for watching, and look for any other exclusive reviews from me very soon. Thanks. For all your wrestling figure needs, check out ringsidecollectibles.com.
Want to spice up your wrestling figure arena? Check out extremesets.com.
Like wrestling? Tune into The Rack, Thursday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern on wildtalkradio.com.